On TikTok, you see these street interviews of people just asking girls like, okay, what's your body count and all of that. And, it's becoming a thing of pride now for ladies to say, oh, I've slept with, more than 50 people, because they think that's what guys do.
So when you said that there are feminist groups and meetings, and I'm like, they didn't catch them young, like trying to sell their idea to them. And they're selling their idea to people who are coming from homes that they see their mom staying home to cook, or they see their mom having to take a career break. So the idea gels in their head, and they're like, yes, like we don't need men, like do we really need men? But it now boils down on us individuals trying to like sell that narrative and idea that necessarily doesn't have to be that way. Oh, I've had friends, they've wanted to get jobs and the management has said, oh, okay, you give me something in exchange. And I'm like, how? Like, why? You just want to help. Like, you want to give me a job. Give me a job. Does it have to matter that I'm female? So when you said that there are feminist groups and meetings, and I'm like, they didn't catch them young, like trying to sell their idea to them. And they're selling their idea to people who are coming from homes that they see their mom staying home to cook, or they see their mom having to take a career break for them, and their dad has to work. So the idea gels in their head, and they're like, we do, yes, like we don't need men, like do we really need men? But it now boils down on like us individuals trying to like sell that narrative and idea that necessarily doesn't have to be that way. Oh, I know that some companies have done like equal paternity and maternity leave. So if a woman gets a year, a man gets a year. I don't remember which company, but it's this big company that just did it now, that there was a lot of noise online and all of that. Yeah, good for them. Yeah, it allows the man to also be able to bond and all of that. But it also boils down to understanding that my uniqueness and my instinct is to want to care for and watch over. As a man, your instinct is not maybe instantly to want to care and to watch over. Your instinct is to want to provide, to protect, like, and to give shelter and all of that. Yeah. How can I, with my instinct to want to love, nurture, and grow, be able to see that there's someone that has a different instinct and come together in like a partnership, either in like the workplace or whatever, without feeling threatened by the other person's prowess, and being able to work together to achieve something. So that's like trying to like put everybody on like start like a level playing ground and complementing one another to see that how can I not thinking in terms of how can I leverage on his weakness and pull him down, but how can I see his weakness and be able to support his weakness that it doesn't necessarily show. So it all boils down to you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you love someone, like if you love as much as like God wants us to love one another, like have concern, show empathy, be nice. That's like how we should act as Christians and all of that to one another. And if we want to do that, if that's like our sole purpose, it means that we will not necessarily be saying that we don't want this person again, like be gone and be gone forever, because I see the weaknesses and it looks like I'm being taken advantage of, but not seeing it as being taken advantage of, but seeing it as how can I play to my strengths, and how can I help this other person play to his strengths, and how can we come together to achieve something good for good
for humanity and for my children and all that.
And for the society at large.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. And what always bothers me is this idea now that women are trying to be like the worst of men. So there's this idea that, I mean, I don't know if you are on TikTok, because I'm not.
I'm not.
But on TikTok, you see these street interviews of people just asking girls like, okay, what's your body count and all of that. And it's becoming a thing of pride now for ladies to say, oh, I've slept with, more than 50 people, because they think that's what guys do. Like, guys are the ones that hunt for the other gender,
men and
right?
then body count.
And sleep around and all that. And, they take that and say, well, it's also empowering for a woman to be able to sleep around. They take the idea of men going to work and providing for their family and say, well, I don't want to get pregnant either. I also want to go to work. And it's kind of like, well, if nobody got pregnant for you, you'll not be here, right? Like,
so it's an identity delusion. Like when you were speaking, what came to my mind is like it's an identity crisis. So as individuals, the first thing you should understand or know is what's my identity?
Yeah.
Who am I? Aside who am I, like where am I from? Then we now go further as Christians to say that whose am I? Like, so is who am I? Like, where am I from and all of that? And who do I belong to? So definitely we both know that, oh, we belong to like a constituency that's higher than here and all of that. We belong to like a bigger kingdom, and we have that identity in Christ and all of that. But for every other person and for everybody, it's important to understand who we are. And I know that there's like a lot of debate about, oh, we came from apes. I didn't come from ape. I'm after the likeness.
Nobody came from apes, man.
But there's like science and there are like facts and all of that, that when you read it, you be like, really? Like, is this and is this that? And it's just I think like the most important thing is understanding who you are, your identity. When there's like an identity clash, that is when there's now a strive to like you said, the body counting and all of that. It's obviously there's an identity clash. You don't want to accept that. Why would you not want to be a soft hard girl? Like, do you get like why it's more like a competition and aspiring to be the other person, because we think that
the best of the other person.
Yeah, and because we think that society prefers the other person. So why can I not be the other person? But the ideal thing is staying in your identity, your own clothing, and being the best version of yourself and your identity. And I hope I don't get in trouble for this. Living like you're the only one. Like there's so many people on earth, but it's as good as I'm the only one. My only competition is me. And the only person I aspire and look up to be is God. The only person I aspire and look up to be better than is myself. So we are many, but really in essence it's just me. So if I understand my identity of who I am, where I'm coming from, where I'm going, and to whom I belong, it's easy to put things in perspective and know that I necessarily don't have to aspire to want to be a man. Yes, would there be times that you are in your feelings and you're in your emotions and you do certain things? Does that change your identity? No. Do you have a role to play? Yes, you have a decision to make to say that these things, these circumstances, these situations might surround who I am now or might affect what is going on now. But am I going to ensure that my soul identity is not corrupted? Yes. Fight for it. Fight to maintain that identity and who you are. That's like the only answer coming to my head. Yeah.
I mean, to what you've said, I've had moments that I'm like, I wish I was a girl right now. Like sometimes I'm on the streets and I wish someone would just pick me up, because a girl will be picked up in that scenario, especially in like, Nigeria, especially here in the rain or something.
Just wait for me. I'm coming to pick you.
But yeah, like you said, we have to recalibrate and realize that, well, I'm a man in this world, and this is what's required of me, and this is my identity. This is who I am, and all that. again, you've kept going back to marriage, so I guess.
Did I go back to marriage again? I'm sorry.
I
So
guess
the thing is,
yeah.
if I keep going back to marriage, it's because ideally I'm wired like beyond like physical marriage, being married to a man. My first identity as a child of God is also that I am in union with him.
Yeah.
So we're in a partnership.
Yeah.
So if I keep going back to marriage, it's not necessarily because it's like the physical union between a man and a woman. It's more like the partnership between Christ and myself. Do you get like Christ and the bride, me, my bridegroom, and me, the bride. Yeah, so help me to
manage it.
Yes, but I'll try my best. Because the truth is, DDK again said that aside, like we have the ideology that our Christianese should be in church and within the confines. But the truth is that it's bigger than the church. As Christians, we're not like just sent to church and how we have to like learn to think beyond church and think beyond the learnings within the church and taking our learnings and expertise and everything outside of the church. And then we're also talking about how God has visions in his heart and how he sometimes when he can't find Christians that have like the structure and all of that to fully
carry it out.
To fully carry out, to fully carry out that vision, he then places it in the minds of those we call like unbelievers. And they're able to like perfectly articulate and work on that vision because also God has urgencies and they are like God also has timelines, the same way we say that we also want timelines. There are things that he wants completed by this time. And if he searches and looks and there's necessarily nobody that can fully comprehend that vision and the ideas that he has of what he wants to do by that particular time. If there is those we term unbelievers, but the person has like the mindsets and the structure to carry out that vision, God will give him that vision to carry out. So that also helps us as unbelievers not to limit. That also helps us as Christians, as believers, not to limit our thinking to the fact that I would only associate with, work with, or be with believers or Christians. That if you have like an expression like a job or something, and you find that you have like certain number of people that comes to you. Okay, well, like a good example is Jesus. In the scriptures, I can't remember where. I think it should be John, where he was talking about his sheep. And where he was saying that I know my sheep, like I know those that I have been sent to. And
they know my voice.
They know my voice, And then there's a part where he was saying that there are those that have been sent to, that they are not yet a part of the fold. So he said, I know them and I want you to help me to like reach them more or less. That's like the paraphrasing thing. That understanding that you've been sent to believers and unbelievers. So you have to identify, like now also boils down to like identity, knowing those you have been sent to and trusting God for the structures, the wisdom and the ideas to pull them in. And all of that.
Amazing. I was also sharing now off camera that this podcast itself, right, was something God dropped to my mind after I started working in this studio. And we had done a play in Nigeria about guys. It was called As a Guy, which is the title of the podcast.
Nice.
And we did a campaign to raise awareness about the issues we're going to address in the play. But the campaign itself resonated with a lot of guys. Like they kept asking, like when I stopped posting, they're like, is that the end? So people want them more from that. And so God was reminding me that actually this can help people. And it was like, just do a podcast instead. So I totally agree with the fact that, we have to do what God wants us to do and fulfill that purpose, that idea he has in mind. But then I'm wondering how, so from what you've said now, I'm supposed to represent, not just or how did you put it? I shouldn't just be a church Christian. I should be a kingdom
Christian,
Christian,
yes.
right? That operates in the world. So when I see people who are not living up to that standard, what should be my reaction? So I see, I don't know, a couple who's always lived here in the West, and their ideologies around feminism, masculinity, all of that is upside down, right? What should be my, I mean, should I say reaction? How should I approach them? How should I represent God's kingdom to those types of people? Tough question.
Yeah, like it's like a bit, but as you were talking, like what came to mind like instantly is place it side by side as I am not of this world. So necessarily like I shouldn't be influenced or be moved by things of this world. And that's like the spiritual part, like give them submitting your thoughts and your subconscious to know that this is not the pattern I should follow. And knowing that you have to know that there's a different pattern. So as a Christian, I assume that you already understand that there's a different pattern.
Yeah.
So that's like the first step, you knowing there's a different pattern. And so you have to then strive to want to follow that pattern. It also means that you would not allow yourself to subconsciously or unconsciously pick those habits and those things. Yes, you give yourself to prayer, studying of the word, and the most important thing is also finding a prototype, finding an example that matches what you already understand about what it should be like, and consciously following that example. So it's not enough to say that I see this, it is bad, but this is constantly what is placed before me. You have to make an effort to find what is the good, what's like the good option, and constantly also force that thing before you, because you're also consciously and subconsciously learning.
Yeah.
So you have to sacrifice, devote, consecrate, like no matter how painful it can be, but force your mind to see that there's a different way to how all of this can go. That's why they say that, like, so if you're from a background where you've probably faced or seen abuse or all of that, your general mindset and understanding is that this is
How things
normal,
are.
this is how things are. So for you to be able to see someone that is like the opposite of what you've been used to, you have to train your mind, force your subconscious and your conscious to know that there is another way, and place it continually before you until your mind accepts that there's that other way. And when you are faced in situations where you have to pick with both, you're able to pick the good one because you have trained yourself to want to constantly have that good one before you. I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, I think you've said amazing things today. Let's start to round up.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the modern day woman now who, I mean,
I'm a modern day woman.
You're a modern day woman. You live in the UK.
Yeah.
Can I share that you're about to move?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you're also about to move to the US,
Transition.
which is also another modern society. In fact, maybe more modern than the UK.
Yeah.
So what would you say to that type of woman who is living in a different system now? So, there's no Nigerian culture to help you to be humble, submit, all that.
Yeah.
Right? So what would you say to that woman? And then what would you say to the guys now who have to live with those women? Obviously you're married now, so you also have hands-on experience about this, and you've behind camera told me how your husband is encouraging you in one way or the other. But what would you say to that man? What would you say to that woman?
So what would I say to the modern day woman on how to contact with that contamination, like being in a system that's like quite different from where you're coming from, and being able to put all of this learning side by side and pick what is like the best for you and work with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And generally just what the ideal is, like what would you say to them to remind them that, well, this is the ideal, this is God's actual original design?
So God's original design is that he created a man and he said that it was not good for him to be alone. Not necessarily because he wanted the woman to fulfill sexual needs or any other needs. It was more because he had a picture in mind of an assignment they were supposed to do. Like, so we like we're supposed to have like a sense of knowing that we have a purpose. There's something bigger than us. Like there cannot be all the millions and billions of people on earth just for that reason. There's like a bigger picture. And understanding that in the bigger picture, what role do I play? Now that's like, what purpose do I have to play like in that bigger picture? So understanding that God created man and created woman, created the woman from the man, solely to be a support, to work in partnership towards a kingdom agenda, towards a bigger purpose. And understanding your unique identity as a woman is very important. So you have to ask yourself questions like, who am I? Where am I from? Where am I going? To whom do I belong? Like, whose am I? Yeah, so like
Masmura has done a number of those.
Oh, really? So like those are like 4 questions that you should have like an idea of, because it helps you with navigating and being able to pick, like, because there are so many things that will come at you. There are so many learnings in the workplace, at home, in church, like just going. But you being able to know which one you want to consciously let into your mind. And most importantly, like, how can you have those 4 answers, those 4 questions answered, is if you go to the person who created you. And that's God. Like, that's where you can get the answers from. That's the person that can give you an inkling and an idea of what the bigger purpose is and what role he wants you to play in that bigger purpose. And when you understand all of these things, it's easier for you to grow every day and then pick the ones that are important for you and then use it. So dear modern woman, you're unique and you are complete. Aside from being unique and complete, you've been made for a purpose, and that purpose can only be found in God. So ask him. He loves you, and beyond your thirst and your hunger for wanting to know God, God also wants to know you. And is yearning for you as much as you're yearning for him. So just open up yourself and allow. Yes, there will be learnings, there will be systems, there would be ideologies that fly around. But when you understand your identity and your constituency, it's a lot easier for you to be able to then walk in alignment with what your kingdom represents, like what your kingdom expects, and work as an envoy and as an ambassador. That's like a lot easier. But it will be hard to fight feminism or to fight the ideologies that fly around now if you don't know who you are. And you are God's own. So unravel it and it will be easier for you.
Amazing. And to the man?
For the man. The first thing that comes to mind is to remind you that you are you. And that aside from how we have painted you all to look, you're also unique. And there's nothing wrong in being soft and being hard. Yes, but find the balance in being soft and hard. Be nice, be firm, be stern, and all of that. But it's also important to know your identity and get to the place of understanding the greater purpose. There's a reason why God created man first. There's a reason why he created you first. And it's because it's easier for you to put a structure in place and bring a perspective together. So if you work hand in hand with the person that created you to understand how to begin to put things in perspective, how to begin to build, how to put structures together. It's easier for you to fully evolve, grow. Sorry if evolve is a girly word. It's easier for you to fully grow into all that he has in mind for you. So you are strong, you're firm, you can be soft, and you can be sweet. There's nothing wrong with being all of that. And most importantly, get a prototype. Your prototype is God, and look to him. Would there be times when you feel less of a man? Yes. But does that define you? No. Yeah, so.
Beautiful. I don't know what to say. This has been amazing. I think this is not how I imagined the conversation was going to go. But I believe this is better. I believe this is for particular people that actually need to hear the things that have come out today. Like you said, God made man and woman for a particular purpose, and it needs to be found. And every marriage, I believe, also has that particular purpose that God wants them to achieve.
Yeah.
And when they work together, they can achieve that purpose faster. And so it's not a matter of me or you anymore. It's a matter of what we want to do, what we want to achieve for God's kingdom.
Yeah.
What else do I want to say? Thank you for coming. Thank you for your insights, your knowledge, and hearing from God, more importantly. That brings us to the end of today's episode. Actually, this is 2 episodes in one, so I'm sure you guys will enjoy this. It just makes sense to give the ladies 2 full episodes so that they can break it down for us. But
nice.
Yeah. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye. Peace.